Dave, how are you?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good, good. All right, good. We got you. Pablo's coming in as well, right?
He's right next to me. Hello,
Oh,
sir.
beautiful. What's up, Pablo? How are you?
Good, thank you, thank you. Been a little bit since we chatted.
Very good.
Haven't looked at any of the questions. How many questions do we have?
Welcome, everybody. Today we have Dave Massey, CEO of SIRC, with us, and his right-hand man, Pablo. And to answer your question from before that, we're looking at like 58 questions.
All right, about the same as before. Sounds good.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Let's hop into this. We could start off. First question we have is from Live and Chill. So it appears that the MZ Group is weak in the marketing department and is making frequent mistakes in the spelling and grammar on their PRs. Do they bring much else to the table, like lining up capital or making connections that will benefit SIRC?
I apologize. I'm in the wrong spot. Okay. Yeah, I did too. Give it that one. I'm getting organized on my side. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time.
I'm looking at number one question. What makes the Nasdaq best and appropriate exchange for SRC to uplist to? Am I looking at the wrong place?
Yeah, which one are you looking at?
Number one says,
Right.
what makes the Nasdaq best place for us to uplist to?
We're October
Okay.
19th.
Okay, here, lemon chill. I see.
Seeing that? Yeah.
I think the MZ Group does a good job. I think I don't proof these press releases to the T, and it's not really my forte, but I think their grammar and their spelling typically is pretty good, and I think they write a nice press release. I think for what we invest in them monthly, they put us in contacts with a lot of retail investors, and as we get uplisted to the QX, they have a lot of following in the institutional side. So we like them. We're going to stick with them. That's for sure.
Okay. All right. The SIRC Twitter handler never posts random things like pictures of the events, etc. We have seen such posts on Balance's media and on Troy's Facebook page and Instagram to see these kind of things. These items might sound trivial, but really connects investors with the company. Is there any way that someone at SIRC could work on these items?
I think I direct MZ myself on the Twitter post, and I could probably give some of that to Pablo. Pablo has access to a lot of projects and a lot of pictures and a lot of the field type stuff. And if you guys would like to see more of that, we're happy to oblige.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So, Dave, could you go into more details regarding your comments about the company being profitable for Q3? Is the expectation that the company will have a net profit from operations for the quarter, or is it that the company is expected to report a US GAAP profit?
We're very confident we're going to report a profit from operations for sure. As you go into a GAAP profit, I don't know if that's going to, public accounting is a little more difficult in my world than me running my own business that I've done for years with a P&L, but our P&L will show a profit. If you have to calculate preferred shared issues and depreciation, all those good things, I don't know what that's going to look like, but our operations, we anticipate to be about $25 million, showing about a 10% profit.
Okay, very nice. What happened to the 200,000 convertible note to Mammoth Corporation? It has a start date of November 27th and a conversion date of August 24th. Why is there nothing on either of the 531 or the 831 Qs on this note? Was it paid off in cash?
Yes, it was. We bought that note out ourselves. Keep it off the
Oh,
books.
oh, there you go. Okay, that answers that one. If SIRC has a $90 million deal to supply components for the Helix work, but do not do any of the work, how is it that SIRC actually is making money on this?
Well, we're going to buy the components for X, and we're going to sell it to Helix for X plus. We're basically going to be a vendor in the deal, and so we, it's a no lose situation for us. So we're gonna make a percentage on the materials that we supply.
Okay. All right, middleman. So we have an iHub user, Splendid88, that posted that he spoke to you, Mr. Massey, on the afternoon of October 22nd, and that he was told that the revenues for this year's quarter 3, ending in November, should be around 25 million, and that the revenues for next year are expected to be at 250 million. Can we get confirmation as whether these numbers represent accurate revenue guidance?
We're still very confident this quarter is going to be about 25 million. It's there's a lot of it based on how the auditors can calculate the revenue for U.S. solar networks, because they have a large they have a 72-day project cycle, and if we can count the revenue during the course of the cycle as the deposits come in and different stages hit, that will be a very easy number for us to hit. But our sales are off the charts. We're exceeding all of our expectations. We're very, very confident in those numbers. And 200 million next year, I'm not really, according to legal, I'm not really supposed to talk about that, but I'm confident we're going to be in that ballpark without getting myself in too much trouble.
All right. Once the SIRC uplist, will SIRC go to a calendar year instead of a fiscal year?
Now, we haven't talked about it. We nice about February 28th. It's kind of a strange calendar year, but it makes it easier on the accountants. We get, we're not at the mad rush at the end of the year like most. So we're going to probably stick with our fiscal year of the 28th.
Okay. With the current political unrest and the internal domestic problems in Haiti, do you foresee this having a negative impact with the current agreement for solar on the island? And if so, there are contingency plans in place to address potential unforeseen upheaval, turmoil to carry out SIRC's contractual obligations on this Laganov project?
It's Laganov. And good
Laganov.
question. We actually anticipated from the very onset that there was already turbulence in Haiti. The benefit of this project is that the two islands have different administrations, which is to say they're a Haiti providence, but they have a two-system administration and control mechanism, similar to what Hong Kong and China used to be. Laganov is self-governed, has their own presidential administration, and we are working with the president's office there. We have a letter a letter that announces and proclaims that we're the institution is going to bring electricity finally to the island. We were on a conference call once, and there was one of our partners was saying, lots of other teams have started but have never been able to finish. And I can quote the president by saying, that's because he did not have the support of the people. We are the administration. We are the people, and we support you. So in these fluid conversations, we're also creating subsidies with the Laganov government, and the one asset that they definitely have is beautiful beachfront property. So it's exciting, and their commercial enterprises are really, really excited to get this project and keep it moving forward.
All right, awesome. That's good news. Did you see the Polaris research report on the SIRC published on October 25th? And if you did SIRC commission this report?
I did see it, and we did not really have any dealings with the with the research company, but we did pay the bill for the report. So we did not have any influence. It was a totally third-party report.
Okay. Is the Rxced partnership part of the Laganov Island deal able to provide electricity to the coin miners?
That it could, yes, technically yes, it could, but that has not been a project scope that we have been discussing. But it certainly could. The infrastructure, and I do want to share that this is an alternative energy solution. And back to the beauty of the ecosystem that Dave created with his acquisitions is that we are able to drive not only solar solutions, but a blend of 4 different technologies so that the island has 24-hour electrical components and capacity.
Okay. All right, very nice. When saying the audit is done, is there a pass or fail? If so, did SIRC pass or fail?
It's not really a pass or fail situation. It's a third party come in and verifying all the numbers, and all the numbers have been verified, and they're very close to the numbers that we had. So, if you want to look at it that way, I would say we passed.
Okay. How is SIRC preparing to scale from a data standpoint? Order flow theoretically will exponentially grow. Not all systems can handle that. It's not a terrible pressing issue, but scaling takes time and resources.
That sounds like a good question for Pablo.
Thank you, Dave. So as Troy and the executive team have been working on, there's really 2 sides to this equation. There's global infrastructure building, centralizing healthy components for all the subsidiary families, centralizing treasury, centralizing HR, also centralizing operational software that interlays into each subsidiary so that the executive team has full visibility as to what is occurring. It allows these subsidiaries, I mean, just as an example, USA Solar Networks directors all took additional training on this platform, but it's very dynamic and it's extremely helpful, gives everybody visibility of what's going on. So there's a current infrastructure that all of the operating subsidiaries already have, and we're integrating global technology for visibility and exactly what you're discussing, sir, the capacity to be able to move it in a fluid direction together.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Sorry, very well. Have you or Plemco ever built an EV charging station, industrial or for home use? And do you have any pictures that can clarify?
So,
I'll take this. Yeah, we actually Holland Solar Electric is a certified Tesla wall charger installer, and that side of the business is really picking up. I know Scott, who runs the division, is set up a separate EV charging division for the residential side, and so that obviously we've installed many. Plemco itself has installed many. They just finished a big project up in Northern California at Yosemite Park. Working on several now, and Pablo can give me a little update on something he just put together.
So, as Dave was saying, Plemco has been in business for 17 years. Their business model, which is a phenomenal one, has been working with federal projects, and these are long 12-month, 18-month projects, and a lot of revenue stream there, but they're long-term funds. And one thing that we analyzed and quickly built together at the SIRC level for Plemco, and we're instituting now, is shorter-term revenue streams. So commercial enterprise with business to business. This creates a 3 to 6 month cash flow reality, and there's a whole new revenue stream. Already we've landed at Plemco the first $190,000 deal with a property management company that's national. They have another 200 buildings. As soon as Plemco finishes this Portland, Oregon project, they open up the other 199 facilities. At the same time, if I could add, Dave, USA Solar Networks finished for the same company a solar installation at one of their apartment complexes. Again, back to the colonization of these companies together because of this ecosystem that they've created.
Okay. All right, so let's moving forward. Have you been seeing any impact from the supply chain disruptions? If so, how has it impacted SIRC, and what does it look like carrying forward?
I've seen the letters that we can start to expect it. Warning prices might start going up a little bit, but it hasn't really affected our day-to-day workflow. They've been able to keep up, and we've done a pretty good job of bulk buying and keeping inventory in stock, and so we can handle the demand that we have. And we have a very large sales backlog with FHP and US Solar, so we've been prepared for this.
Okay, very good. Now, what about labor shortages? Has there been any impact with that?
Here locally in Southern California, on the roofing side, there's been labor shortage for years. We've been dealing with it, but it hasn't had a major effect. I think Pablo has more of a global feel with US Solar Network. He works nationwide. He might be able to give you a better idea nationwide.
On the national footprint, because we already work with established licensed contractors to do our installations, if they're feeling it on their end, they're not transcribing it to our experience. So their cost of installations is not going up for us. Their installation schedules are not backing up. So we think they're doing well on their end as our partners and installation partners, and we think we're going to survive it well. And we also think it'll catch up to itself.
All right, very good. So we're prepared. All right, given the projections for growth in the solar industry, it's obvious that we're one of the more attractive spaces in the market right now. Can you speak to SIRC's competitors, what competition's looking like currently, and how you can navigate that?
I personally, I don't feel like we have any direct competitors. I mean, everyone's a little different. We're one of the only full service companies where we do everything. We do the sales, we do the installs, we do the marketing, we have the financing, we do everything. Most of the companies that you guys know about typically focus on one aspect of the business, but here locally in Southern California, we're busting at the seams. So my policy my whole life, I keep my head down. I don't really look around to see what the other guys are doing.
There you go. I like that. So then that could lead into the next. What do you consider SIRC's greatest strength that will propel the company further?
You mean other than Pablo?
Yeah.
It's can only take us so far, Dave.
I think what I just said, we're a full service company, and we're the best. Having US Solar Network is just it's really changed our entire footprint and changed the way we look at things. Pablo having the nationwide reach has been amazing. How he's joined our roofing status and how he's working with the roofing contractors really helped. But we have a great team. I think we have all the key points. Pablo, do you want to elaborate on that?
Thank you, Dave. So, just real quickly, we recently attended an investor conference, and literally, we heard several times with MZ that was there that joined us from several institutional investors that their analysts were there. They're projecting us to be the next publicly traded $1 billion company. That's because we're scaling effectively, methodically. We're not outgrowing our infrastructure. We're capitalizing ourselves well. Everything we're instituting Dave's vision, I think, with his executive team to the best of our current infrastructure abilities, which is to say that we're not letting ourselves get ahead of our skis. The consolidation period that we went through was very healthy, and some new opportunity zones are opening up, and we're really excited to take a hold of them.
All right, awesome. All right, what specific steps will Duchess Capital be taking to help us? What is their job exactly? Is it to describe us positively to industrial investors whose ear they have, or would their service be needed only while we trade on the OTC?
That's a great question. Pablo and I actually have a meeting with them tonight after Discord. I know they've been working with Pablo to really get a feel for did I say Pablo or Wanda?
Well, Pablo, Wanda.
They've been working with Wanda, to our CFO, to get an idea of the share structure and the debt structure. And they're really doing a deep dive into what, the makeup of SRC. And then they're putting a plan on how we can build the story and tell the story to real investors to expand our investor base. Because they do have a lot of years, and they're very, very excited to work with SRC. So, they're just going to help us grow and get more awareness out there and give us the guidance that we need. I think they're going to be a great asset.
All right, good. How do you foresee the implementation and transition of NEM3 from NEM2 in California affecting the solar and storage space overall, and SIRC specifically?
I have not seen any changes in the upcoming NEM agreement. If it has changed, I don't know about it. And I'd be embarrassed to say if it changed and I didn't know about it. But I know they're voting and I know they're trying to change it, but I don't think they've done it yet.
Okay. All right. Do you have any update? Can you update your LinkedIn ASAP? This is more for you, Dave.
I'd see that.
So that you're linked to the SIRC business LinkedIn. Right now, it's only showing 6 employees.
I will see if I get someone to do that. That's not very high on my list, but I will see what I can do.
Yes. Has Plemco successfully went go-to-market with any EV car chargers yet? And if so, how well did they work compared to the competitors like BLNK charging?
They don't actually make car chargers. They install them, and they have various manufacturers that they use. They're usually spec'd out by the government, so I'm sure they're having great success.
Okay. How many employees does Future Homes currently have, and are they planning to grow?
That's a great question, and he's a sales org, and his sales team varies. He uses a lot of college guys, and depends on school and the semesters and breaks. I know that we're going strong. Sales are still strong. I don't know exactly how many employees, but he did tell me just the other day that he landed another sales org where he brought in 100 new sales guys. I don't know all the details of that, but he did reach out to me and tell me that he just brought on 100 more guys. So I'm sure he's working in Florida and Arkansas as well. So it's tough to keep up with Jason, I'll be honest with you. That guy makes it happen.
Yeah, that's good though. Busy's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Do you still have a contract with SolarTrack? And do you foresee any growth in the agriculture sector?
We do still have a contract with SolarTrack. It's for the government grant, again, to supply. We're a vendor for them to supply materials for their government grant that they're looking at. In the agriculture sector, I don't know if you want to tell them about what we did this weekend or not.
It's signed and sealed. It's signed and sealed, baby.
Awesome.
We might give you a little preview of what Pablo and I were out in Kingman, Arizona, working on a 20,000 acre farm, and Pablo inked a huge deal this weekend. So maybe we'll give you guys a little insight about that. Maybe leave you guys with a smile today.
Awesome.
Tell them, Pablo.
Well, we had to bring big guns, so Dave joined, and it's something that we've been working on for about 6 weeks now. It's a generational farm. The organization has been in business for 100 years. 20,000 acres in Kingman. In between, the nearest utility line is 20 miles away, and the utility company was in charge of $20 million, $1 million per mile to run utility lines. So this organization, we connected through a mutual contacts, and what we were able to create for them was their perfect desired solution. It is a blend of 4 different alternative energy technologies, really exciting tech. including with solar, obviously. It's a self-running system, so it produces all the energy that they need for 24 hours, 7 days a week. And they require 45 million kilowatt hours a year. 45 million kilowatt hours a year. That is a ridiculous amount of energy, but it's a huge farm. It's a huge win for us. I show the structure that we inked is revenue streams for the next 30 years for SIRC, and this is all on paper. Can I show the?
Sure.
They're going to be cutting. They're going to be paying $454,000 a month for their electrical needs. We have sourced the capital. We will be funding it. It'll be on SIRC's books, and that revenue stream for the next 30 years. That balance sheet's going to look really good with that on there. So huge project, marquee project, and we have all the team players in place, executed agreements, capital in place. We're a go. I mean
It's going to start first of the year. It sounds like be done end of February.
So we've started pre-construction now, and the actual construction component is as Dave shared.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, it was a big weekend.
That's awesome.
And just another detail. It's Callaway Farms is the name of the farms, and Alex Callaway is one of our attorneys out of Las Vegas. And Alex said when we signed the deal, they've been in business 100 years. He said, if this goes as we think it's going to go, we have the keys to the kingdom to have many more farms. So this could be just one of many.
Oh man, that is great news. Congratulations, guys.
Glory, baby.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Very nice. All right. Well, that's good news to everybody.
Yep, it was big. We getting a $90 million deal and a $45 million deal in 1 month is like I said, we're busting at the seams.
That's huge. Awesome.
Yeah, and I think Pablo's commercial pipeline is about $350 million right now. It doesn't mean he'll close all those deals, but he's working on all those deals in various stages. So we're just trying to keep up with things.
Yes, sir.
That's why my LinkedIn profile hasn't been very important.
Makes sense now. Now it makes sense.
I need an updated picture probably.
Yeah.
That picture's probably 20 years old.
All right, getting back into the questions. 23. What are the convertible common shares redemption values of Class C and Class D shares, if any?
Okay, sometimes when we purchase a company, we don't buy all of it with InterRev and Future Home Power. We bought a majority percentage of them to claim the revenue. So to make that work, our attorney had to issue Class C and Class D shares. Basically represents the balance of the companies that the original owners own. It's kind of an internal preferred share that has no real value other than the value of the rest of their companies. So if we want to buy the rest of the company, we would buy up the rest of those shares.
Okay. All right. Can you give us a sales update on Future Home Power? Also, which states in the next quarter are they focusing on opening up?
I think we covered that. He's currently he regularly sells about $3 million a month, and as I mentioned, he's just got in Arkansas. I know he's working with Cornerstone to get their solar market going, and he's in Florida. So the exact revenues, I'll be honest with you, I've been with Pablo quite a bit. I couldn't give you an exact number, but he's busting at the seams as well.
All right, good. That's always good. SVG Solar Boot Camp. How is that relationship going? Can you share any success stories, wins, or opportunities you've seen with them?
Absolutely. So we are holding another. I'll show the first three events that we joined with them. We drew in relationships, roofers that wanted to convert to solar. We're going through the training process. As a matter of fact, the Laganov opportunity was sourced through one of the relationships that they brought to the forum. Obviously, there's deep complexity and into the island project, but They're definitely sourced that opportunity, so there's great value there. We're going to be presenting at another SVG conference, the 5th and the 6th, and every time that we're there, we bring on new relationships. I think their commercial pipeline within our 340 million is what was it, 90 million when we were at Anthony's office? 80 million. It was 80 million in commercial projects, which we are in the process of developing. And to be clear, when we have a project that's we have a buyer, we have we have the locate, we have a lot that's in the process of developing. We're we're structuring the capital, so at a 20% close rate at that 340 million, you could do your own math.
Yeah. Okay, very nice. All right, this is kind of like a two-part question. What is your residential and commercial sales volume mix?
Residential commercial sales volume mix. It's as we just discussed, we just closed a $95 million commercial deal, a $45 million commercial deal. It would be easier to answer it in dollar volume. That's in the course of a month. Depends on when these projects start. We do about 10 million a month. I would say it's 70-30 at this point. But when these big projects start, those numbers are going to get skewed quite a bit.
Oh, yes. In a good way. All right. And then as far as what is the roof and solar sales?
Oh my gosh. We roof sales are we do about $2 million in roofing per month, and the rest solar. So we do about $8 million in solar a month.
Okay.
And it's seven. Probably 6 to 8. Depends on the month and how we can calculate the revenue.
Okay. What is your current overall margin percentage? Same as Q2, higher or lower? Obviously, I'm going to say higher.
FHP has really pretty significant margins. We're always in the 40% range. If you look at the contractor side of things and the sales side of things, as far as U.S. Solar Network with their different model, it's kind of bigger numbers and a little smaller margin. But if you did a blend, I would say about 30%.
Yeah, that's a healthy number.
Yeah, something like that. We've done a great job of cutting overhead. In the past 2 months, we cut over $1 million a year out of our overhead. We got some executives that didn't really mesh, and they're not with us any longer. Neither are their salaries.
Wow. Well, that's a nice
Yeah.
chunk.
And no one took any more money. We didn't give ourselves raises or anything to make up for it. Our goal, as I told everyone, is to be profitable into this quarter. This is my major focus. Other than that, other than get my LinkedIn fixed, I want to make money. I want to make money this quarter.
There you go. I like it. Oh, man. Yeah, that LinkedIn, don't forget.
Oh man, I'll clear my calendar now.
Can you give us an update on the 80 dealers that were signed at the RoofCon? And how are they integrating into the U.S. solar network system? Any success stories, wins, challenges?
So one thing that we learned through that experience was, and we're building out the infrastructure and these new realities, because to be clear, we're creating new opportunities that you haven't really seen around in the solar space before, right? Driving these big companies that have been in roofing for years, so they have tons of infrastructure, they have tons of staff, but what we've created different nodes, if you will. Our training for, as we onboard a solar sales company as a dealer that has been in solar, it's a different node and experience process. If it's a roofer to solar, that node it always entails more training. Their onboarding process is more nuanced so that we make sure that they're successful. But relative to success stories, my goodness, I mean, there's a reason we have $340 million in commercial projects in our pipeline. Real buyers. Dave was in town in Arizona, and we had a lot of presentations that we went through USA Solar Networks, and the growth is phenomenal. I think it's in a healthy clip. We have phenomenal talent asset on our staff, directors that have been hired specifically for their expertise and their industry. So we're scaling, and I think we're scaling at a healthy clip.
Yeah, Pablo, the director, told me the biggest problem they're having is keeping up with the demand of onboarding the dealers. They said they have more dealers on board than they keep up with, which is not bad problems to have.
Not at all. That's a win as far as I'm concerned.
And we're going to keep having more and more seminars, sound like with SVD. So obviously, Pablo's going to need to scale. We got to keep him busy, keep him out of trouble. Because if he's not busy,
There's trouble.
All right, good. So that's a win. Are there any plans to expand Mid-Holland Electric or Cornerstone Construction to any new locations?
You know, Melholland Electric has evolved a little bit. There are some power dealer in our Tesla wall charger dealer, but they're basically the installer for FHP. So they're doing now about 100 installs a month. Their revenue from FHP is kind of part of FHP's revenue is rolling through Melholland, but we're installing about a megawatt now through Melholland. And we kind of did the math and the base that we think Melholland's going to start making about $500,000 a month. So it's not really, it's kind of SRC growing with Melholland being one of the subsidiaries that's getting the benefit. So if we can get them making $500,000 a month, it will be a big win for us. We have Cornerstone where we've assigned Rob Rinaldi to get their solar division going. I just had an update with him yesterday. He said it's really turning the corner. He thinks he can really get some sales going first of the year. It's been challenging because it's not a really green area there. That solar is not, is not well used or well known there. But I think our goal is to get Cornerstone's revenue to double next year, adding the solar component, and not relying on storms so much.
Awesome. All right, good. All right, now the next question. How many employees does SIRC have? Is there somewhere we could see the number of employees at each subsidiary?
Subsidiary? It's funny. I've been in business 32 years, and so many people ask me how many employees I have, and I can never answer that question. I can always tell you how much payroll is. That's the number that sticks with me. But I mean, I couldn't tell you. There's if you look, there's got to be 200 or 300 is my guess. I couldn't tell you.
A lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
But we're adding more all the time. Always looking for good people.
Awesome. All right. Has there been any further discussions with the generator company you mentioned in the previous Q&A?
Yes, I actually met with him this week, and he said he's going to get us a distributor agreement out before he goes to Scotland. So it looks like we'll be a distributor for him, and which we're excited about it. We're actually the company that's doing the Callaway Farms also has generators and batteries, and Pablo and I are actually going to Utah to meet with them to work out something with them. So we're working that angle on a couple different fronts.
All right. Very good. Moving forward. Could you go more into detail on the backlog currently being experienced by SIRC and its subsidiaries? Like lead time percentage, if any?
I know for a fact the residential solar from FHP being installed by Milholland is backed up till the end of the year for sure. I know on the roofing side we're backed up about 30 days. We have a great backlog. I know U.S. Solar Network has a huge backlog as well. But nice about U.S. Solar Network, they're a network, so Pablo can add dealers as he needs them as it grows. So it's easy to keep the backlog time frame manageable, which is key.
Yes, it is. All right. On the road to the listing on Nasdaq, what do you see the biggest challenge, and how are you preparing for it?
The biggest challenge we're going to have is, which everyone will appreciate, is probably getting all the subsidiaries audited. And we have a great audit team. We have a great CFO now. That's her department. I'm very confident in her getting it done. It's not really a challenge. It's just a process, and it takes time. So patience, I guess, would be the challenge.
Yeah. Yes, sir. can you share what your FY23 revenue guidance is and any thoughts of what FY24 would look like?
We're instructed not really to get our crystal balls out. So
Okay.
we're confident it will be a lot more than it is now.
All right, good. Positive. Positive. Dave, this one's for you. Can you confirm whether or not SIRC has ruled out the possibility of an IPO offering as part of its planned Nasdaq uplisting in the future?
We haven't really thought about an IPO. Our focus always is our shareholders, and I tell everyone that if my shareholders win, it means I win. So we haven't ruled out even stopping at the QX for a year. So if we can stop at the QX for a year and get the price up to $4 without doing a reverse, I think it's a win for everybody. So that's the bigger possibility.
Okay. Okay. Has the PPP loan been forgiven?
We got the PPP loan in stages, and I believe the first stage, it has to process, I think, for 46 or 48 weeks, and I think, 24 or 26 weeks. And I think the first one has, and I think that's in the process now. So I'm sure over the next month to 6 weeks, they all will be forgiven.
Okay. Now that the original audit has been completed, can the uplist application to QB be filed?
I spoke with Jeff, our attorney, today. He tells me it's going to be done this week. I would be impressed if it is, but that's what he said.
Awesome.
He's had the application filled out. He just needs to plug the audit in. We have to do a couple things with our independent board members, and my goal is first next week to do a press release that our application for the QB has been filed, and Jeff does a good job of keeping things on track.
Awesome. Right on track. Okay, good. Are the next round of audits a requirement for uplisting to Nasdaq? Do you have an estimate on how long this final round of audits will take?
Well, the audits are a year-end process. The next piece is doing the reviews, and again, Wanda and the accounting team are getting right on it. That's their next process, and we have to do reviews now, and then we have to get everything audited year-end, and then we can file the Form 10. Then that gives us flexibility to go to the QX or Nasdaq or whatever is best for the shareholders, whatever works. Again, with our growth, we have no idea what everyone talks about stock price, and they ask me about it. I have no idea. When I wake in the morning, I don't know if our stock price can go up or go down, but I think with our growth and what's going on, there's a good chance we should see some good growth in stock, and our goal is to get to the Nasdaq naturally and not do a reverse.
Very good. Very good. All right. Have you found a new building to make a headquarters for all the San Diego roofing subsidiaries?
We're looking currently. Pablo's in town. We actually have appointments tomorrow afternoon. Look at a couple more. We found one we really like, but we're still looking. Our goal is, I don't know if you saw the press release today about the bank deal. We're going to take some of that money and get a headquarters, cut our overhead by $30,000 a month, combine everything, get Pablo over here, get him an office here, and get some of US Solar here. But I think we'll get some good synergy, all being in the same office working together, and it's top priority for us.
Oh, very nice. All right. So it's in the near future.
Yes, I think we'll have a new office building next month.
Oh, beautiful. All right. As the rental car companies rapidly make the transition to more and more electric vehicles, has SIRC/Plemco been in contact with any of them regarding the massive number of charging systems they will be needing?
Yeah, I believe I'm gonna let Pablo answer that because I know Pablo's working hard with Plemco to get their revenues up.
With the business plan that was created and that Dave and the board approved, that allowed us to open up Plemco to our commercial contacts already through other subsidiaries, one being USA Solar's. All we did is reach into our bag of current customers and the reception was immediate and massively well received. As we shared, there was already major signature for 200 property strong management firm. So personally, the performance I think that we shared with the board we're gonna surpass those numbers quite quickly.
Very good. All right, good. It was said in the audit news wire that I quote, "This enables us to prepare to refile our Form 10 with the SEC, which can be filed once we finalize the audit of each of our subsidiaries acquired during the 2022 fiscal year. Does this affect uplist the OCTQB, or does this mean we have more audits needing to be done before we can file them?" All right, well, this kind of just, you answered that.
Yeah. Well, again, the process is now since the audit's done, we can uplist to the QB, and then we have to get the reviews done and the year-end audits done for all the subsidiaries, and then we file the Form 10, and then the world is our oyster. We're fully reporting SEC company. We can go anywhere we like, and again, we're going to go what's best for our shareholders.
Okay, beautiful. Since SIRC accepts Bitcoin as payment, first, have you sold any job with payment via Bitcoin? And secondly, if you have, do you hold the Bitcoin to liquidate at higher values, or are the funds converted to US dollar after job completion?
We have not sold any jobs with Bitcoin that I'm aware of.
Okay. Is it only Cornerstone that accepts Bitcoin payments?
Yes.
I think the best time to submit for the uplisting to the OTCQB is the time you meet the requirements to fill a 10 times SEC. When do you think you'll meet the requirements to fill this Form 10 with the SEC?
I believe we covered that several times.
Yes, once again, that was the same one. A lot of your PRs don't seem to make it to the TD Ameritrade news feed, and the info on there doesn't seem to get updated. Is there anyone in or outside the company working on this to improve information and transparencies to potential gain more and more investors and therefore improving the stock price for everyone?
Obviously, we're doing these discords, and we're working very hard to get the word out on SRC. I'm shocked that our press releases don't go to TD Ameritrade. We use a premium service to circulate our press releases, and I believe they're one of the best. So I can check into why they don't make it to TD Ameritrade, but I think that's something we can fix.
Okay. That's good news. It seems as though there are shares from an old large note that converted and are being sold regularly and keeping the stock price down. I would assume you or your TA, Colonial Stock Transfer Company Incorporated, should have information to contact any converted note holders to ask if they still have stock and if you could buy them back to improve shareholders' value and their trust in the company. Is there anyone currently working on a deal to buy back shares from whoever this or these entities could be that are continually selling and lowering the value of the company?
You know, that's a great question. If you look at our press release today, we've cut that deal with Arbor Bank. We're getting a very large capital infusion, and part of it was share buyback, and those are the type of share buybacks that we can do. We can buy them from investors, and we can, we can't open up a TD Ameritrade account and just go on the open market buyback shares, but we can get rid of some of our investors who are in the market, keeping the share price down, and that is one of my number one goals I'm using that money for, other than buying the building and adding value to SRC.
Okay. The outstanding shares has increased by about 30 million recently. Are these restricted or unrestricted shares, and what was they used for?
Yeah, I'm sure with a blend. All the subsidiaries have bonus packages. FHP does. US Solar Network does. So I'm sure some of it with bonuses, some of it could have been for some no conversion, some of it could have been for capital raise. We're still growing and expanding all the time, so we still need to bring money through the doors. But we're very, very conscious of our outstanding shares and our investors that are in the market. And my goal is to get all of our investors out of the market with this new infusion of cash that you just seen.
Okay. All right. So this next question is a multi-part question. I'll go by it one by one. So it says in the last Q&A, Brian's shares were the shares going to be arbiter. Brian has to be compensated for those shares. Were Brian's shares bought back previous to that, or is he getting a percentage of the arbiter money?
Brian's shares were bought from him at 20 cents a share, and we're which is if you do the math, he had 50 million shares. He got $10 million, and we gave him a couple $1 million, and we're giving him $500,000 a month to get those shares bought back. So if you look at the business deal, we took those shares and we sold them to Arbiter Bank for $42 million. So it's worked out good for all, especially Brian.
Okay.
I just want to, if I could, damn good work, Dave. That's a phenomenal deal. Damn good work.
Yeah. All right. These are non-voting preferred shares, correct?
Yes, they're preferred B shares that are 10-to-1 conversion in the common.
Okay. Will they be converted to common stock? And if so, that would be 60 million shares, correct?
The Arbiter shares, yes, and that's they have to hold them for a year. They are restricted preferred shares. They have to hold them for a year, and their concept was they think that $42 million will get us to the Nasdaq. They think we can double in size, and they're looking for a big win. Their goal is to take those 60 million shares and hopefully turn it into, whatever it is,
240 million. That's
something like that. Yeah, that'd be $40. That's $240 million. It's not a bad deal. I wouldn't mind owning a bank.
Yeah.
You do.
I wish. We noticed outstanding shares have increased by around 7%. Was that due to the milestone achieved and shares were granted as compensation?
Yes, we kind of covered that. Yes. There's another question. Are the other shares, Dave shares that he talked about selling back? If so, how is Dave compensated for those shares?
Yeah.
Brian and I both had the same amount of preferred shares. Without putting stress on the company, I did sell 1 million of my preferred shares at 20 cents, just as Brian did. So I did. We were hoping I could sell the same as Brian, but I put SIRC first all the time, so I did not. So I retired 1 million of my preferred.
Okay. If these shares were in fact incentive-based shares, how many more can we expect? Can you please share with your investors what those plans look like so we can know exactly what the potential outstanding shares and float increases may be?
My goal is with this cash infusion is to lower out our outstanding shares, and I think I can. I think we can gobble up quite a few shares. We might have to issue a few, but I think by as you know, our authorized share is only 500 million. I have no intention of authorizing any more shares, so we want to keep under the 500 million for sure. So, to answer your question, every quarter, FHP gets some shares, US Solar Network gets some shares. It might go up about 10 million shares per quarter, but at the same time, our revenue is growing at a faster rate, and we're buying and issuing those restricted shares doesn't really harm the company. It's the investors that we have shares that are selling into the market. Those are the shares that we care about that we want to take care of.
Yeah.
And my goal is to take care of that.
Yep.
Nothing makes me sicker than to have a 4 million count share day and it jump out of the gate at 56 cents and close at 48 cents. It sickens me.
Yes. No, of course. All right. All right. You have stated in the past that you want to be known as an energy company. Is it eventually a goal for SIRC to be a one-stop shop in regards to solar, EV charging, and the whole generators, etc.? Is there anything in the works for this as far as potential partnerships or commercial or residential projects?
Uh, so it's actually pretty well stated in that that's exactly what this ecosystem of subsidiaries are.
Yeah.
We genuinely hold within our platforms almost every alternative energy solution. Because of that, we're able to do the type of marquee projects that we've been discussing on this Q&A. The Callaway Farms, had Dave's vision not turned into a reality, no one house could really encapsulate all the needs there.
Yeah.
But so yes, we're an alternative energy company. Energy certainly is going through a great transformation from fossil fuel to alternative energy, and we're at the cusp of it. And it's transcending in our economics and data.
Okay. How many residential MW has SIRC installed so far this year? And how many do you expect for a full year?
Currently we're on a clip of installing, just not counting U.S. Solar Networks, just SRC subsidiaries, about a megawatt a month. So if you do the math, that'd be about 12 megawatts a year.
Okay. Okay. How many new residential customers do you have? And how many do you expect to have by the end of the year?
Oh my gosh, that data is not in front of me. I know, if you're talking about roofing and solar, it's I can't. Maybe we do 200 deals a month, maybe something like that. I look at revenue more than customers and employees. I'm a numbers guy, but to answer the question, maybe a couple hundred.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Kind of hard number to come up with. With the continuous rise of OS and lagging SP, do you plan to let the company grow organically in that respect to achieve Nasdaq standards, or are you aiming for a hard deadline of QT 2022? And if so, what does that look like for existing shareholders?
I think I covered this. As we mentioned, we're growing at a pretty rapid rate. I feel like we get the investors out of the market and we start seeing the true growth of what we're really doing. Last quarter was, I think it was 9 million. We didn't really have FHP or US Solar Network in there. We think this quarter will be closer to 25, depending on how much revenue of US Solar we can claim. And then when the market really sees our numbers and seeing what we're really doing and seeing our growth, I think our stock price will catch up. And our goal is, I think, as we get the QB listing done and get everything audited and get the Form 10 filed, that I don't know what our stock price will be, but at that time we're going to make a decision. Hey, what do we want to do? And if our stock price is, let's say, $1 or $2, we may hang out at QX for a year to see if we can get it up to $4 to get to the Nasdaq. I think it makes the most sense. And I think that would be best for the shareholders as well. You can do everything on the QX as you can on Nasdaq.
Okay. You keep mentioning share buyback. Are you really talking about buying back common shares or preferred shares? And doesn't the company have better use for the cash than simply buying back shares?
We think getting our investors out of the market is really, really important because, like I mean, today was a little sickening when you see the stock price jump out of the gate and go up and then see it work its way down. If we didn't have investors in the marketplace, that wouldn't happen. So, also with the bank, they're working with us on acquisitions. They're going to give us a line of credit for acquisitions, so we can grow the company with acquisitions with their line of credit in addition to the 42 million. So, I think getting the investors out of the market is top priority.
Okay.
I think everyone would be happy if the stock price would perform as it should without folks in there selling.
Yeah. All right. Why would the company issue new shares to use proceeds to buy back existing shares? Shouldn't the company never consider buying back stocks from insiders?
Why would the company issue new shares to use proceeds to buy back existing shares? I don't. We haven't issued new shares to buy back existing shares.
Okay. All right, well, that answered that one. What are the terms of the new preferred common rate and conversion rate to the common?
I don't know about a new preferred. If they're talking about the preferred C and D, I think I covered that.
All right. Now back to the Callaway job. What brand of generators are going to be used on the Callaway job?
Well, it's a patented technology that infuses 3 different alternative energy solutions in there. Specifically, the generators are they Honda made? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Honda made generators, but again, there's 3 different, pardon me, alternative energy solutions that are within our partner scope.
Okay. Could you explain how Dr. Philip Yin's patents and tech background is being leveraged by USA Solar Networks and SIRC? I'm curious if there's an R&D is now taking place and potentially entering a new product line.
So Dr. Phil, outside of being a Nasdaq CEO for many years, he's got a doctorate in physics. So and specifically in oh my goodness, I'm going to get this wrong, but he's really, we're utilizing him for his analytical prowess relative to new tech for certain. As we look at an opportunity zone, perfect example, Callaway Farms. The partnerships that we use there for their alternative energy technology, that we vetted it for 2 months before we brought it to market, and we have a lot of deals going on with that partnership. So he's digging through the tests, through the results, making sure any product we bring to market deserves to be in line with the SIRC brand, and he's a phenomenal asset thus far already. So glad he joined. Very glad he's joined.
Okay, very good. Could you elaborate on the acquisitions you are looking at with some of the Arbiter bike funds?
I can't. We have NDAs in place. I can't at this time.
Okay. How large is the line of credit?
Pablo might want to answer this. Pablo was blown out of his seat when he talked to the bank.
Holy moly! So, little context. I've spent my 20 years of my career raising capital for real estate and alternative energy. So I know this space cold. And when I was speaking to this institution, 1, they know their space cold, but 2, can I literally quote? When I was talking to the bank CEO and chairman of the board of directors, he said, "Pablo, we are 100% in on SIRC and 1,000% in on Dave Massey." I'm like, "That's phenomenal, so am I." And he's like, "You're rarely going to hear this in the banking world, but we're telling you, sir, spend our capital on every opportunity that you gentlemen can put together, your team put together." Admittedly, that's when I fell out of my chair, because raising capital all my life, you just don't get that type of opportunity, and if you do, you better pounce on it. So can I share the 25 minutes? One thing he has already given us the global approval on, we just sent over all of our fund, is creating a revolving credit facility for $25 million. That revolving credit facility is going to be used to structure a fund. That fund will be used to capitalize and monetize commercial PPAs. So what does that mean? Okay, let's say Target. They don't want to pay for the solar system. Great. We have a finance program. It's the SIRC fund that will fund a PPA where we will install the solar system for, let's just say, Target. The Target doesn't own the solar system. They don't maintain it. They don't insure it. They buy electricity at a discount from us, SIRC, versus what they would buy from the utility companies. So they're happy they didn't have to come out of pocket any money for the solar system and get the benefits of reduced electrical rates. We're happy as the solar system owner, as the fund owner, we get all the subsidies, federal, state, utility subsidies. We get electric revenues from the host, which would be Target as an example, for 25 to 30 years. So these are revenue streams that are very much sought after on Wall Street. The default rate on people, commercials paying their electrical payment is less than 1%. So it's solid paper, huge for our balance books. It's a revolving credit facility, and we are diligently papering up the process documentation, and it's literally got sent over to Darren today.
And it kind of gets with the big boys. That's Sunrun's model. They go out and they sell the deals and sell the leases and sell the PPAs, and they get all the revenue from that. So kind of what we did with Callaway Farms is, we're going to get those monthly revenues. So we'll have that. We'll have a revenue stream, a monthly revenue stream from our projects. That's kind of change everything for SRC.
Because the money is always in the money. Beautiful. Great work, Dave. I'm just Dave. Yeah, Dave. Killing it.
Killing it, Dave.
I think Pablo should take more credit.
Mm.
I tell Pablo,
Great job, Pablo.
I'm only the flower.
Yeah, he's the pretty. I was like the big daisy sunshine in the sky, shining down on us, Dave. Thank you. You're Daisy.
Oh man! All right, so we're getting close to the end here. I just got a few more questions.
I'm looking at you.
All right, so I got a question from Reddit. How many states are you guys now operating in? The last news release, it mentioned 38.
So we've added another 2. That's 40 states. And to be clear, when we add a state, that means that we've taken the time to study the market, the economics, built all the infrastructure to have our sales organizations that can move in there, specifically start doing business right away, onboarded contractors, vetted contractors, onboarded those contractors with our financing options. It's a process, and we make sure that it's methodical. That way, everybody, all of our customers, and our customers are our sales companies and our contractors, can go to market and they can create their customers through their homeowners or commercial entities and whatnot, and we service those relationships for our customers, which are the sales companies and the contractors. At least that's the USA Solar Networks model.
Okay. All right. Will there be a PR outlining the architecture of the Callaway power plant?
Most of these things we are discussing are PRs that we have in the queue. We've given a lot of information on this Discord, and you guys will see this again. You'll get PRs in all these. Our PR department stacks up with a lot of good PRs. As you can tell, we have a lot going on.
All right. And now, last but not least, will you have ORG charts for SIRC and its subsidiaries?
We have one. If you guys went on the website or something, you want to see it, you can.
Okay, so find it on the website. All right, beautiful. All right, Dave, Pablo, thank you guys very much for tonight. Is there anything else you guys would like to add before we wrap it up?
I would like to take a moment and congratulate Pablo. We had a board meeting today, and Pablo just got nominated as our new president. I'd like to reach out and thank him for all of his hard work. He's done a great job for us. We're excited to have him as our president.
Thank you, sir. Very excited. Very excited to be part of this super dynamic team. It's literally the best decision of my career life to move to the SIRC family, and it genuinely feels like a family. It is my family. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Won't fail anybody. We're working hard, everybody.
Awesome.
Someone's been on there that's looking for you to take Joe's place in the White House.
All right, good.
Dave's working on that too.
All right, guys. Well, once again, congratulations on the Callaway job. Congratulations, Pablo. And I'm looking forward to the next Q&A.
Me too. Looks like we have another one tomorrow night, huh? You don't think we have a social life or what?
There's a lot of questions to ask, my friend.
All right, sounds good, guys. Appreciate it. We're off
Alrighty,
to
guys.
go see Duchess.
Thank you, team. Thank you,
All right.
shareholders. Love you guys.
Alrighty, guys. Ciao. Have a great night.
Thanks. That went okay.